Hi everyone, I'm Heather. Welcome to Strings and Threads, streaming to you from my dungeon of dreams. Join me in the magical world of crochet, knitting, and all things yarn. If you're a fellow yarn enthusiast, hit that subscribe button and become part of our creative journey. Let's dive into today's project. Hi, I'm Heather. Before I get into explaining the chart and the tutorial, I wanted to say this is more of a guide on how to read the chart and how to make this. I don't make one step by step with you, but I think I give you enough information that you could just go and make it on your own, following the grid. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. My email is in the description, and I'm happy to give you advice if you have any issue with the PDF, downloading it. Again, email me and I can email it directly to you, or we can figure out what the issue is. But the most important thing here was that this is not a beginner step-by-step like how to crochet. This video actually kind of assumes you already know how to single crochet and start and finish projects. So if you need a little bit more practice getting your stitches down and then coming back, that might work a little better. This isn't meant as a beginner, here's how you do it. This is more of a guide to show you how. But I do love this hat. I love how it turned out. My boys are so happy with it. I tell the story of why there's a bowling hat because I know it's a little bit kind of specialized, if you're not into bowling, but I do explain why it is a bowling, and I'm hoping to design other designs in the future. So please enjoy this guide. And again, feel free to reach out with any questions you might have. Hi, my name is Heather. Welcome to Strings and Threads. This is a crochet video tutorial for the bowling hat, and this was inspired because my two sons are both avid bowlers and they wanted to have bowling hats. And so I thought I would share my design with YouTube, anybody who wanted to see it. I know it's a little niche, but I'm sure there are other people who like bowling out there, and it kind of inspired me to think of other designs for hats. So stay tuned. At the moment, I don't have other tutorials for other designs, but I'm going to be looking into doing other designs. So we have the bowling pins and the bowling balls alternating there. And this particular one is knitted. So there's going to be a knitted tutorial, and then this will be the crochet tutorial. And a lot of it is just going to be talking you through how to do the pattern and what kind of things you'll need. So the pattern is fairly basic. You would begin working in a round from the bottom up. So even in the knitted version, I did this. You start at the bottom, you do the brim first, and then you start into the design. And in the pattern, this bottom section, since it's so flexible, it doesn't have to be the same size that I recommend. It can be, you can have a very small brim of maybe just a few rows, couple rows, or you can make your brim a little bit longer, up to whatever you want, So this bottom part is the brim of the hat, and you don't have, I have it going 8 rounds. You don't have to have it going 8 rounds. You can choose how many rounds you want it to be. And then also you can use whatever colors you want. One of my sons really likes red, so I made this one in red. My other son wanted me to use this blue in place of where the red is on the pattern. So when we get to these X's, instead of being surrounded by red in this one that I'm going to make for him, I'm going to surround it in this blue. So the colors can be up to you. That you don't even have to use the grays. You could choose whatever you want. So working from the bottom up, chain 90, and then attach to the first chain to form a circle. So that's pretty simple enough. And then you're going to use a stitch marker to always mark your first stitch in the round. So you'll put the stitch marker in right in the first stitch that you put in. When you go around and get to the stitch marker again, you take it out and you move it up to where the first stitch is in that round. It's really important to mark where your rounds are here. If you forget to mark where your rounds are, it's going to be hard to find where you start the next round in the pattern. Start with the brim using any brim pattern you desire. I recommend alternating front post and back post double crochets. You can make the brim any size you want. I suggest between 5 and 8 rounds. You know, you can even make it thicker or thinner if you want. So that's what this part of the design is. After completing the brim, follow the colors and pattern on the chart using the waistcoat stitch or any stitch you desire. Read the chart from right to left for every row. Now the waistcoat stitch works best when you're working in a round. So if you're not familiar with the waistcoat stitch, I'm just going to do a little swatch of one round so you can see it. The waistcoat stitch will look exactly like the stockinette stitch here. It's not going to look like the brim. This brim in the knitted is knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2. But when you do alternate front post and back post double crochets in crocheting, that makes a really nice brim as well. So I'm going to I'm going to start the beginning of this swatch, and then I'm going to come back and show you exactly what the waistcoat stitch is. This is only going to be a little swatch, but when you do the waistcoat stitch, like I said, you need to work it up in the round, so we'll chain 1. When you do a regular single crochet, you just go in through here. But to do the waistcoat stitch, you're going to go into the front of the stitch, and you can see how there's like sort of they call it a V right here between these two loops. You're going to go in between that V and do a loose single crochet. And look at how, I'll do a couple more. So you're going to not go into the regular spot you would go to, but go into the front of the stitch in between the V. I'll do a little comparison here in a minute. Same thing here, go in between the V and the front of the stitch. Okay, so now take a look at how that pattern works up. You can see the V here, the V here, a V and a V here, and a V and a V here. Now look at the way it looks when it's knitted. V, V. They are so close, if not the same. So that's why I recommend the waistcoat stitch. But you can still do just plain single crochets or just plain half double crochets and still get, and the pattern will still look nice. It just won't have those V's like you get in knitting. Read the chart from right to left for every row. So since you're going in a round, it's just you're going here and then you're starting back over here. So you're never going to go from left to right. So you would do round 1 and follow round 1. Although this is the brim, but this is just for example. When you get here, let's say when you get here to round 9, you're going to follow right to left, round 9. And then when you're ready for round 10, you start back over on this side, go to round 10 and follow the chart here. You're going to carry the colors with you. So here, this would be all, in this case, red or whatever color you choose. In the next round, you're doing black, red, black, red, black, red. So you would just carry those colors with you. The back side of the hat does not have to look pretty. What I did with the knitted one, I don't know, I might be able to show you how ugly it is. Let me see. Yeah, you can kind of see how ugly it is back here. But what I did was I did a second hat, just knitted it up really quick and put it in as a second layer. And I'm probably going to do that with the second hat as well. For one, it covers up all of the ugly stitches on the inside of this. And for second, it actually makes it a lot thicker. And I know that, you know, here where I live, it's not like super cold, but it does get pretty darn cold. And so it's nice to have a thicker hat. So that's what I did with that one. I did not write that in the directions. That's just bonus for watching the video. And then once the hat from the brim to the top, so I'm going to show you what that means. And that doesn't mean the top of the, let me push this up. That doesn't mean the top of the closed hat, when you're just working the rounds. So you're going to do the brim, you're going to follow the design, and then whatever color you choose above the design, you just keep working in that color. And that means you're going to start here and measure up. When it gets to 7.5 inches or 19.5 centimeters, or your desired size. If you're doing a child's hat, you might want to make it a little bit smaller. I'm doing an adult size hat, or maybe you're working with somebody who has a larger size head and you want to make it taller. Then you go to the size you want. But for, I think, a normal adult size head, I have a normal head. My sons have normal size heads. They're grown, you know, they're old. They're not children. Going the 7.5 inches or 19.5 centimeters should be perfect. Begin decreasing. Crochet 2 stitches together, then 1 stitch in the next 4 stitches, and repeat until the top of the hat closes. So you'll just continue that decreasing pattern until it's the top circle is small enough. So you can either keep going until it's completely closed, or you can keep going until it's a very small circle. Then you can cut a tail and weave that tail in and out of the crochet stitches and then pull the hat closed, which is what I did on the top of this one. I went until the circle was, you know, it's closed now, but I went till the circle was about here. And then I cut a tail and I weaved that tail in and out of the stitches and then pulled it tight, and it makes a nice tight opening. So, or a nice tight closing. I'm sorry, not opening, a nice tight. It was open, now it's nice and tightly closed. And then it just says, I recommend following the video tutorial, which I know I'm not actually doing every row and stopping every row. I think that this pattern is fairly self-explanatory. You know, basically I'm just giving a tutorial on how to make this, you know, telling you what my directions mean. Hopefully this helps you. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to leave a comment, or my email address is in the description. You can email me, and I'm happy to go through things in further detail. But, you know, basically work from the bottom up, make the brim, start following the pattern, carry the colors with you, go up until it measures 7.5 inches, 19.5 centimeters, or your desired height, and then begin your decrease, and then close the hat. If you really want to, you like I did, you can make a second hat, just, you know, basic with one color, and sew that on the inside. You can see how I sewed that on. I sewed 1 stitch into 1 stitch into 1 stitch into 1 stitch around here, and then I did some stitches on the inside. I didn't close this hat because I did make the mistake of not making it big enough. But it didn't bother me because this hat still fits perfectly fine. So I just kept the circle open, and then I did some, you know, I sewed it down in some of the spots up at the top. But for my next one, I'm actually going to make the inside hat the correct size and then close it up, and then I'll sew it in for that. I'll sew it along the edges the same way, and then I'll, tack it down in other spots just to make sure it stays. So hopefully this is helpful. This PDF is in my description, so you can feel free to download it onto your device or print it up so that you can follow the pattern. And if you're having trouble getting the PDF, please send me an email and I can email it to you just directly if that helps. We'll figure out a way for you to be able to get it. So don't be upset if you run into any kind of problems. I'm here. I want to help you. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that your hat turns out wonderful for you. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.